All right, everyone, welcome back to the Golf Unfiltered podcast. You've got the boys club again. I'm Adam. That's Trevor. That's Dan. Nikki is not able to make it today, but that's fine. She's here in spirit. Hi, gentlemen. Trevor, nice to see you.
What's up? How's everybody doing?
Doing well. Dan, you okay?
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen with Nikki not here to, keep us in line.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
We'll get the texts after she watches the video, and she's like, "I can't believe you guys talked about that." But we don't know where we're going with this. But there is one big topic that we want to talk about, of course, and we'll get to it here in a second. But before I forget, because I'm so bad at this, and I always forget, we need to say thanks to our friends over at True Links, where they are the title sponsor of Golf Unfiltered. You'll see the two hats if you're watching on YouTube. Here, I'm wearing one. Dan's wearing another. Trevor, you've got polos and you've got stuff as well.
I do.
But
sorry, I didn't throw that
oh, no.
on, but yeah,
it's not a big deal.
I've got to say
what?
real quick to shout out to True Linkswear, and I texted you guys immediately afterwards to tell you both, but we haven't done a show since. So obviously, as everyone knows, I'm down here in very hot, very sunny South Florida. So we're already well over real feel in the hundreds these days. And I decided, 2 weeks ago to go play golf at 1 p.m, which, the stupidest thing you could possibly do. But I had on one of my True Links golf polos, and let me tell you, that thing kept me dry the whole time. I didn't have the sweat stains anywhere. Not that it mattered because I was playing by myself, but it immediately just took that wetness and just disappeared instantly. So those polos are the real deal.
Well, you can go pick up your own polo at truelinkswear.com and use the code unfiltered15 to save 15% on your order. I know a lot of people have taken advantage of this already. Thanks to all of you who have done it. And go see all the cool stuff. It seems like they're just kind of filtering in new releases every so often. It's almost like surprise drops, it seems like. And they've got some good stuff coming out. And Dan, I know you're waiting. You're waiting for one drop, I think is coming in August, if I had to remember right. The Florida Man Dan shoes.
Absolutely. The slip-ons. Give me those slip-ons. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Peak Florida Man.
That's right. Well, guys, speaking of peak Florida Man, really quick, Dan, congrats on it's been a while since we've talked, but your Florida Panthers finally brought it home.
Good they made you sweat, didn't they?
Sweat, cry, throw up, panic, the full range of emotions just all over the place. And then, of course, it would not have been a true South Florida victory parade if I didn't stand out in the rain for 5 straight hours. So,
there you go.
I mean,
Good,
but anyway.
Good. Well, we've got some breaking news that literally came out today, and the official news isn't supposed to be announced tomorrow. We were joking around. I'm like, okay, well, when is the official announcement now? Is this really even a leak? Apparently, the next United States Ryder Cup captain will not be Tiger Woods, contrary to popular belief, but it will be Keegan Bradley, a man who famously or infamously did not make the Rome team. If anyone watched Full Swing on Netflix, it was actually a really big part of season 2. Guys, this was a surprise. I could tell you I am not thinking of the Ryder Cup at all these days. I am more worried about the end of the world, but I'm just an idiot. Dan, your initial reaction to that name, Keegan Bradley, coming out?
Yeah. I hope the first thing he did was call Zach Johnson and tell him that him and all his little buddies will not be making this upcoming Ryder Cup team, #Team Petty. Yep. In all seriousness, no, my first reaction was, and I think I texted it to you even, Adam, it was like, do we want to even start speculating why Tiger passed it up? Obviously, in the hours since then, everyone's been doing that for us, so we haven't had to. I have seen rumors that he passed because he didn't like the fact that the PGA of America decided to make a change at the CEO position. I saw that he passed it up because he wants to give it a shot on the road in Italy and maybe be the first American captain in a very long time to win a road game. I will say this too. I think that, say what you will about the Ryder Cup and about how much a captain actually matters or doesn't matter, or, what they actually do. I think one knock we have had for a very long time on the American side is it's just been the same closed off boys circle. Mm-hmm. Keegan Bradley was not, very famously, obviously, as we saw from Full Swing, was not part of that boys circle. So if maybe this is the new CEO coming in and saying, hey guys, what we've done basically for the last 20 years has not worked except for one-offs here and there. Why don't we just try the most polar opposite thing we can find? And if it doesn't work, at least we can say we tried it. And I feel like that's what we're going to get here from Keegan, because obviously he's not even historically part of like the Ryder Cup playing group. Yeah, he famously played at Medina, and he very famously has still not opened that suitcase from Medina, but he's not one of those guys that you just pencil in every single Ryder Cup that he's going to make the team. That being said, I don't think there's anybody who's more passionate about the Ryder Cup than Keegan Bradley, especially for somebody who has not traditionally been able to make the teams. So I think at the very least, we're going to have somebody who's going to be the captain, who's going to be very enthusiastic, very encouraged, very gung-ho. I don't want to say cheerleader, but very like, he's going to leave. He's not going to leave any emotions on the table. He's going to put 1,000% of his ability to do whatever he can do into this.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And Trevor, I think one of the names that always been floated heading into Bethpage Black has been Keegan's Ryder Cup partner at Medina, Phil Mickelson. Interesting that he wasn't getting the nod, but I think we kind of saw that coming, right?
Yeah, I don't see that happening for obvious reasons. But hell yeah, Keegan Bradley, let's go do this thing. Like I don't know. It's gonna make me sound a little bit ignorant here, but Dan kind of touched on it. Like, how Captain doesn't hit any golf shots, like if it's someone, I think we can agree Keegan's a pretty well liked guy, right? I mean, Zach Johnson maybe not so much. I don't know, maybe the other players like him a lot, but from a fan perspective, he's the worst. And so I'm all for it. And breaking up that inner circle, for years, they've always said, hey, we're going to do things differently. We're going to change it up. We're going to shake things up. And where did that get us? I mean, maybe, but just, I have the list here of past captains like Tom Watson, Jim Furyk. These are guys that are at the tail end of their career, gonna get all these younger guys together. Keegan's closer in age, probably has, they're fun to hang out. He's fun to hang out with in the team room. And like you said, Dan, he is so into the Ryder Cup that maybe that adds a little fire for some of these guys. I mean, he could theoretically even play his way into it, right? I mean,
player captain,
maybe. I was surprised that it wasn't going to be Tiger. Just because that made the most sense given what the captaincy has been for the past, maybe since the Ryder Cup started. I mean, you want an older guy that has done it all out there captaining the team, and that seemed to be the strategy. Yeah. So yeah, this is cool. I'm for it. And now, what's it going to be like? He's a big Boston guy. Ryder Cup is at Bethpage. Is there going to be anything going on there with the fans? I hope not. I hope we'll rally under the U.S. flag. But I'm all for it. Why not? Let's shake it up finally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a friend of the program here, Chad Mum, and I say that very, like he's been here twice, so it's not like he's a reoccurring guest by any means, but he's the producer of Full Swing, and he even just tweeted out recently, plot twist, something that he didn't even see coming from his, obviously what they documented on Full Swing with Keegan, famously not getting the phone call to be on the team, getting a phone call he didn't want instead. To Keegan's age, I believe he's around our age. He's 39 years old. He's younger than me. Trevor, I think he's younger than you. Dan, I think he's right around your ballpark right there.
Hey, whoa.
How old are you now, Trevor?
Until December. I'll be 39 in December. Right. So I got some time.
I got these whippersnappers with
Trevor
me.
mentioned the possibility of playing captain. I think the reason why it would be so crazy, because like he also mentioned, most of these guys, when they become Ryder Cup captain, they're towards the tail end of their playing career, so they don't play a ton anymore. And they certainly don't play enough to be able to qualify for their own team. But you look at a guy like Keegan, like he's obviously, not only is he not done, but the fact that, 2 years ago he was squarely on the bubble to make the team. Now, of course, being the captain, it will take him away from some of his ability to play maybe as much as he would like. But man, I mean, he's certainly capable of winning, and the way the the points system kind of works now, especially with the split with live guys. All you got to do is basically win a tournament in that Ryder Cup point cycle, and you're on the team.
Mm-hmm.
And to say that Keegan couldn't win one, I mean, he obviously can win any week still, pretty much.
Yeah, he's currently ranked 19th in the world. I mean,
yeah,
that's not too shabby.
no.
So yeah, to your point, guys, I mean, he very well could qualify. I mean, I liked when Tiger played the role of player captain in the President's Cup a few years ago. That was a cool thing to see. I don't see any reason why Keegan wouldn't be able to. He is a fan favorite, very well liked, Trevor, like you pointed out. I mean, I don't necessarily mind Keegan as a captain. I think at some point it would make sense for him to be one. We understand too, and again, this is kind of unsubstantiated rumors right now, but there's probably some truth behind it, that Tiger was actually offered this one and then was given the right of first refusal. Dan, to your point, perhaps to maybe go to Italy to win the first away game. You know, it just has to, I don't know. Tiger's got a lot of power these days. It seems like he can do basically whatever he wants. I mean, is this the right time for Keegan to be a captain, considering everything we've just mentioned? He's still kind of, I wouldn't say he's in the prime of his career by any means, but he's still very much capable, right? Trevor, what do you think?
Sure. But yeah, it's the right time. Why not? Like I said, it doesn't. Am I going to tune into the Ryder Cup regardless of who the captain is? Yeah. Do I think we have a good chance of winning when it's played here in the United States? Of course. So yeah, this is a great time for him. And look, if he was so distraught about not making the team last year, this is extra motivation for him to come out and just pound the Europeans and bring the Ryder Cup back to the States. I mean, it's a great storyline. It would be a great redemption arc after not being there last year. You know, we saw what happened with Ricky Fowler. You know,
yeah,
wasn't great at the Ryder Cup, but I'm all for it. This is a great. I don't know. It's a great move, but I like it. And yeah, this is the time. Sure, why not?
Dan, no qualms over the youngness of Keegan. You think he's
no,
good?
Yeah. I mean, I tweeted a little while ago, Keegan revenge game coming, right? Because between what happened last year or 2 years, whatever it was, and then of course, you know, the ultimate revenge game as far as Medina. But no, you know, I think pure speculation here. But to me, I look at it also as golf's not doing the fans any favors right now with anything in life. And I'm not saying this is the reason why they did it, but obviously fans took greatly to Keegan, sympathized with him. He became even more of a fan favorite after that episode of Full Swing aired. So to then now, when everyone in this country is going to be rallying around him and that team at Bethpage Black, regardless of the fact that he's a Boston guy, everyone's going to be chanting USA. And if they win, he is going to be an adopted New Yorker by the time this thing's done and over with. We know how those Bethpage fans are. Phil's from California, for crying out loud, and he was considered an honorary New Yorker to them for decades. So you know, they'll get over where you're actually from. You know, I think that whether it was intentional or not, it's a great way to get people together in this incredibly divided golf world that we are now in as fans. Because everyone's going to come together and get behind Keegan and get behind this team. Not that they weren't anyway, but I think that Keegan pick or that Keegan play adds another layer of, well, nobody doesn't like this guy. Like everybody loves this guy. So everyone's just going to be gung ho all in even more now. Come, you know, first balls go in the air.
I also think that, and I don't have any facts to back this up, but I feel like Keegan wouldn't be as hesitant to add live guys to the team. Like he's not in that old school circle that we've been talking about where maybe they're upset that these guys went to, like, he's got to make a spot for Bryson. He's got to make a spot for Brooks, you know, whereas maybe that was a question in forming the team 2 years ago. Whether you're going to
Bryson will probably qualify on his own like Brooks did 2 years ago with his major win, but
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think he has all that influence that Zach Johnson had, or pressure on him. Maybe Keegan adds a Taylor Gooch. I don't know, but that's neither here nor there.
If not, it will have an asterisk.
I just think it's
right.
it's a fresh point of view, and that's what the team needs, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, obviously things aren't working too well for the Americans. They didn't work very well at the last Ryder Cup. We all know that how that ended. Yeah, I don't really see anything bad with it. I wish Keegan the best. Obviously, if this is truly the way it's going to go, should mention that Bob Herrig from SI.com was the one that originally came out with the report. We will see tomorrow. Apparently, the official announcement will be tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see. I always like to see who's going to be on the sidelines. Maybe not vice captains, but like the honorary captains. You got to think with Keegan Bradley being a big Jordan guy that MJ is going to be there. You'd have to imagine that he apparently plays pickup basketball with Tom Brady. He's probably going to be somewhere on the sidelines at some point. Keegan's got a lot of high-profile friends that are not necessarily golfers that will be there, and it'll make for a really cool atmosphere over at Bethpage. Dan, what do you
Does he bring MJ back after what happened at Medina?
You have to. You
kind of have to. He's got his shoes on all the time. He has to.
Can we do that? Can we have, instead of like the equipment or clothing mishaps that we've had at the Ryder Cup, can we just, everything's going to be Jordan brand? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Get everyone some sweet kicks.
Sorry, Polo.
Practice rounds at what's it called, Club 23 or whatever his
the Grove
is. The Grove, that's right. Let's do that. Let's lean into it. I'm all for it.
Absolutely. I mean, why not at this point? The Euro team, and we'll talk. This is way too early to talk about Ryder Cup. Who's going to make it? Who's not? But Team Europe looked really damn good. Obviously, I picked them last year. I don't know what's going to happen in 2025, but there's a lot of names on the Euro squad that aren't playing as well as they did last year. Vic Hovland is one of probably the big ones. Unfortunately, fell off the map. Dan Ludwig. Ludwig's going to be a problem for the next 20 years, I think. And then everything else from there is kind of a toss-up. If John Rahm's going to actually play or not, that we'll have to see. Luke Donald, of course, making a repeat appearance as the Euro team captain, which I think is an interesting move in itself, but also one that I like to see. Luke Donald versus Keegan. I think we might have some fun with that matchup.
I'm just praying that Sergio is there in some capacity after, what was that? It's 22 years ago now where he's playing at the US Open at Bethpage. But they don't like him over there. So I'd love to see that.
Oh God, bring Poulter out there too. Why not just throw Poulter and Sergio out to the New Yorkers and just see what happens?
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
Hey, similar, this is a golf podcast. Let's talk about another golf thing. Another 59 was shot, Dan, at the John Deere Classic. Those guys ate up again. They ate up that TPC over in Silvis, Illinois, which, by the way, is not Chicago. It's the Quad Cities. I hate it when people say that. But here's a hot take from you, Dan. Ready? Go. Is golf too easy for these guys now? It's another 59. What did the guy finish at? Like 28 under? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think if anyone was still on the fence about where they felt in terms of rolling the ball back for these professionals, the last couple of weeks should have steered you in the direction of, yes, roll the ball back. Yeah. Also of note, though, the last 259s that did happen the last 2 weeks did happen in rounds that were lift clean in place. So you do have to consider that too. Obviously, that's basically perfect conditions, but at the same time, while yes, I think that we are reaching a point where 59 is not the special number it once was anymore. I also every time have to think back to the fact that he also was the only one to shoot a 59. It's not like everyone was shooting 59. So it still is hard to do. You still have to go out and hit the golf shots, even on an easy golf course, to score that 59. So I do like to kind of throw that out as well. Listen. These courses are being, I feel like ever since the live split, the tour has started trying to set these courses up a little bit easier to keep guys more happy so they can shoot their low scores. Once again, I don't have any proof to back this up. That is just what I feel like I'm seeing. I think though, I will say this. I do look forward to the first guy who shoots a 59 when they institute these new rolled back golf balls, because that will truly be a historical 59, because it will be the first with, the balls that aren't going to be going as far. And obviously we don't know what the equipment is going to do with them, but it'll happen. The rollback's not going to prevent anyone from ever shooting a 59 ever again. I just think that maybe we won't see it happen almost weekly anymore.
Yeah, these guys are going low. And Trevor, I think, so Hayden Springer, the notable PGA professional, I've never heard of this guy before prior to him shooting 59 on Thursday, round 1 of the John Deere. I mean, where do you stand on this whole thing, Trevor? I mean, I know we talked a lot about during US Open time, the scores. Do you care one way or another if they go low or if they're over par?
Not really. Everyone has to play the same golf course, right? I think it does speak a little. I mean, there are a lot of young, I'm going to call them kids, because as we've revealed, I'm 38 now. There's a lot of good talent out there. And a tournament like the John Deere is a great opportunity for them, but also for fans to see younger generation of golfers coming out, making birdies, driving greens, all that kind of stuff. So it has its place in the golf calendar, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the low scores. What I want to know is what happens on the charter flight from the John Deere to Scotland. That's got to be a fun party, right? I mean, how could it not be? I mean, you got all these young guys that are going to Scotland, maybe most of them for the first time. It's a long flight. Got to be a party atmosphere. I'd love to just take that charter one time. I think that would be cool.
That's where season 3 of Full Swing should open. The charter flight from the John Deere Classic to Scotland.
There's definitely a lot of cards being played on that flight. A lot of card games being played for sure.
Definitely. Well, I'll be honest. I watched probably 30 minutes because I was at a friend's house and it just so happened to be on TV of the John Deere. Man, I'll tell you, if this is the premier Chicagoland PGA Tour stop, longtime listeners are probably sick of me saying this stuff, but we got to get a regular tournament back here in the Chicagoland area. I mean, this just isn't it. This ain't it. I agree with you though, Trevor. I mean, there is a spot in the calendar, for tournaments like this. Just so happened to be a pretty rainy week here in our area. Lift, clean, and play stand, like you pointed out, is always going to yield good scores. But man, it's just not entertaining golf. And Jordan Spieth played like trash again. That guy, I don't know.
He shot 63 one day.
He did. That's
he
true.
was tied for the lead at one point early in the week. I don't remember what day it was, but
I'm just bitter because my top 10
before all the leaders went out.
Yeah, well,
that's right. That's right. Yeah. My top 10 didn't hit. That's all. I'm bitter about it.
Well, I will say though that Chicago needs a tournament. DC needs a tournament too. We had Tigers tournament here for years, whether at Congressional or Potomac. This is a good area, and Chicago is as well. A lot of golf fans, a lot of golfers. When is it, like 2050? Maybe the U.S. Open's coming back to Congressional, but
right.
Well, Chicago
who knows what'll be happening then?
The Chicago area was in that BMW rotation for a long time. I know it wasn't every year, but now obviously that they did away with that. Even as far as now, it's just in one spot. It's not a rotating tournament anymore. But I felt like it was always fun when they got up that way. During BMW time when they would fall into the rotation.
Listen, some of my best memories growing up were at the Western Open, seeing Tiger hit ridiculous golf shots out of bunkers at Dubs Dread and Cog Hill, which is literally 10 minutes from my door. I just, I miss those things. And yeah, we've got, Medina, we've got Olympia Fields, all these courses. Just, I don't know.
Adam, you're going to have a live event. You're going to have a live event to go to.
How could we forget that?
Good Lord. You know what? I should go. I looked up tickets the other day to
Can't be too
Bolingbrook.
expensive.
It's ridiculous. It's like, okay, well, so it was like $45 for general. So just walk in and maybe find a parking spot. First of all, I don't know where people are going to park. If people who are listening to this live and know what I'm talking about, Bolingbrook Golf Club is, I don't even know how to like compare it. So like when you land in Orlando to go to the PGA Merchandise Show, Dan, and there's that drive from the airport to the convention center, like if you were to just take an exit and literally like half a mile from the interstate, any land that you can picture, industrial, all of that, and you threw a golf course in there, and it just so happens to have a nice banquet hall, pro shop or a clubhouse, that's what this golf course looks like.
Oh, geez.
There are no trees. John Rahm's going to get sunburned to all hell. Brooks Koepka is going to be just miserable. Bryson's going to be Bryson, his whole thing. It's going to be a total shit show at this place. There's nowhere for these fans to go. But I should still probably make an effort, do it for the people, I guess. I don't know. That's all I have to say.
Give us a live report from out there.
God. Do you think they'll let me do it? Do you think they'll let me like live stream and just MF them the entire time on my phone? Just do it.
I know what would happen if you did that at a PGA Tour event. You'd
Right,
be thrown
exactly.
in the back
We all
of
know
a
that
car and never seen again. But
Right. Oh, good Lord. When people watch this back, when Nikki watches this, she's going to say, this is the moment when I knew things turned and we became a live.
rails.
Maybe maybe you
rails.
can maybe during tournament week you can break bread with Greg. Maybe take him to meet him for a nice dinner somewhere.
Yeah. I could meet him at the Buffalo Wild Wings on the corner of Weber Road. And anyway, so our unofficial segment whenever the three of us get together is the pop culture segment. Trevor, I need a breakdown of what was released by our friend Kendrick. What happened?
Yeah, so well, I don't even know if we've discussed the Juneteenth concert, which was fantastic.
We have not.
You had
Yes.
you had Bloods and Crips on stage with Kendrick, all coming together to say they hate Drake, which was fantastic. Enjoyed that thoroughly.
Played the song 6 times?
6, baby. That was awesome. And now the music video for Not Like Us came out on the 4th, which is just another. There are just so many layers to this. My favorite part was Kendrick crip walking around his house with his family, who Drake previously said he doesn't care about, and he just showed it and then during the classic A minor line, he is playing hopscotch as if he were a little girl. So it's just fantastic. I can't believe Drake showed up to Michael Rubin's white party on 4th of July. I thought he needed to be in hiding for at least a couple more years after all this. I can see Dan's eyes glazing over here.
Oh, no. I'm trying to look something up because there was something I actually was going to be able to contribute to this for once. But I was trying to find the video.
So just the summer of Kendrick continues, and Drake should be stopped at immigration or customs whenever he comes to the United States and detained. That's all I can say.
Michael Rubin's white party. So am I mistaken? But Kendrick released a video as well where there was a white portion of it where they were all dressed in white, and he was like waving to say, "Hey Drake, do you see me? Like, I know you're supposed to be there." I love the pettiness.
It's so awesome.
It is really good. Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, so Drake obviously bet $500,000 on the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. Drake, we all know, is the worst gambler on God's green earth. So anytime it ever comes out that Drake bet something, immediately fade it because you will win because he never wins. And so obviously with that whole storyline going on, when the Panthers during their victory parade, I was towards the tail end of the parade towards the stage area. So I don't know if this was officially played like over loudspeakers at the start of it, or they all just kind of did it on their own as they were getting ready to start it. But they did play Not Like Us, the Panthers players, Not Like Us at some point, either right before or right as the parade was starting. So just another L that Drake is taking well after the fact.
Now, speaking of the parade, you reminded me, wasn't there a moment when a Panthers player screamed like F Brooks Koepka? What happened?
Yes, that was Aaron Ekblad, was the Panthers player who Brooks Koepka famously showed up in a suite at one of the games, I believe last year, with a traffic cone, holding it up to describe Aaron Ekblad, basically calling him a traffic cone because that's all he was good for on the ice, was essentially being a traffic cone. So yes, obviously now Stanley Cup winner Aaron Ekblad. So his speech, if you will, when they were all on stage lasted about 10 seconds, and it was just him getting up there and yelling, "F you, Brooks Koepka." With a traffic cone, everyone cheering, and then on to the next guy. But yeah, he gave that little shout out on the way out there to Brooks, which was a great callback from a year or two ago.
Love it. And I think I remember seeing Brooks actually retweeting it, commenting, being a good sport about it, which is amazing.
I mean, listen, Brooks is a massive Panthers fan, so I'm sure there were very few people that were not. I'm sure he was very happy to be very wrong that Aaron Ekblad was not, in fact, playing like a parking cone or a traffic cone during this playoff run and winning a Stanley Cup. So I'm sure he was more than happy to take that L.
Brooks also manages to find snow in Florida every year somehow. I don't really know. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. Anything else, guys, that we want to cover? Anything golf related, pop culture related? What do you got? Pepsi, if you guys want to sponsor us, I'm in.
I could do a whole hour on pop culture right now. Golf, not as much, I guess, but
yeah, I'm not watching a lot of. Are you guys playing any golf personally?
I played a couple weeks ago. I'm actually trying to get out this maybe on Friday. We'll see. Down here this time of year, it's either 150 degrees out or raining, so it can be a little tough to try to plan that one out.
Yeah,
I played. I think it was last weekend or 2 weeks ago. Played my member guest with my brother came into town, which was cool. We finished half a point out of the shootout. So if we literally had made one putt somewhere, we would have maybe won some money. But you know what? Good time. My brother's not very good at being in the moment. Let's just say, to put it nicely. So I was mentally exhausted afterwards, having to keep track of what everyone's doing. And, he's putting for a 5, he's putting for a 4, but he gets a shot, like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was taxing. And not to mention, like you said, Dan, it was also 110 degrees here. And so it was a grind, but it was a blast. And
it's swampy season, folks. I think it's swampy season.
Man.
I think even up where you are, Adam, we're getting to that point of the year where it's swampy.
It's not been cool by any means here. I'll tell you that. Today's not so bad, but we've got the wind heat, I like to call it, where it's very humid, still somehow manages to be extremely windy, and just not really too pleasant to be out there. And I don't know about you guys. This is, my old manness coming out, but I need to recover like 2 days after swinging a golf club for 18 holes. Good Lord. I went to the range the other day because we have a golf outing. My wife and I are playing in a family and friends golf outing coming soon. We went to the range. I was on the shelf for like 2 days. Now she'll listen to this and who am I kidding? She doesn't listen to this, but if she were to listen to this, she would say, I'm just a huge baby. But I don't know. Do you guys have those aches and pains?
Yeah, my feet were killing me. My feet. It was brutal. Granted, I made the mistake. We got some very nice shoes, and I just figured I'd throw those on and play, 54 holes over a weekend, and that was the wrong move. Need to wear them around the house for a little bit or something.
Yeah, I usually feel it in my lower back. Usually that next day. You try to soak in some, whether it's a hot tub or bathtub or whatever, to try to get that hot water, into the muscles as quickly as possible. But I still, no matter what, seem to always feel that in my lower back the next day.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. And
we're getting old, guys.
We are getting old. What's funny, really quick, and before I let you guys go, is our impromptu photographer at Golf Unfiltered, Jonathan Dunnigan, Nikki's husband, has been bitten by the golf bug, something fierce. And he has resorted to texting me often, asking for swing tips. I don't know anything. And he's asking for assistance. And that man, he's a little bit younger than us, I think. he is out there fighting the good fight down there in Georgia. He's got the setup now at home. He's got the mat. He's got the driving range net.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm jealous. He's got the full setup in his garage. I am very jealous of that setup.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
It's something. So, Jonathan, if you're listening to this, God bless you. Keep doing it,
hey,
man.
I tell you what we can do. My 6.5-year-old, I took him for his first golf lesson last week.
Oh, that's right.
So they could just trade back and forth some tips. My son's biggest takeaway was you need to hit the ground a little bit and then hold your follow through, which seemed to be working for him. So there you go.
Not an easy thing, I have to admit. Hitting the ground is not an easy thing. A lot of people don't like doing that.
Right?
Jonathan, I think, has that figured out. He's got one of those moves at the ball that is. I think he's an electrician by trade, and man, he just takes it out on this golf ball. I have not seen him
a violent transition.
Just a violent. He brings some club head speed to the ball. But
there we go.
Sometimes
the ball runs into it. I mean,
yeah, that's right. That's right. We'll get him on again so he can defend himself since he's not here now, and we continue to talk about him. Anyway, I think we've covered everything we got for today. That's Trevor, Dan. Nice to see both of you again. Who knows? Maybe this is all just a big joke, and tomorrow we have to hop on and do an emergency pod because Keegan's not the pick. Boy, that would be something.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something?
After I for the first time in my life got excited about Keegan Bradley, he wouldn't dare do that.
No. Big time fan of the show for sure. All right, guys, we'll be talking soon.
All right, guys.